job as a shit fuck, you know, cringe tour, etc., etc.
$7 million for reef fish management, $25 billion to combat Asian carp, $2.5 billion to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
They had a very bad original concept. It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups. Very simple. Bad deal, should have never been thought of. Somebody really messed up, and they had the worst cover-up ever. And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it. Because whoever thought of that idea, I think is in big trouble.
Created Pokemon Go, but I try to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
I mean, the fossil fuel industry, they weigh in so significantly. I mean, how could it be?
And then they have cans of soup. soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup for my family. They're so innocent. This is soup for my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
All of a sudden we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
I'll kiss every guy, man and woman, man and woman. Look at that guy, how handsome he is. I'll kiss him.
Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic installation of the program today. We've got a show. Some would call it a program, some would call it a show. Today is the day. I've got some coffee. This is my second cup of coffee. So, folks, I'd like to apologize before the show gets too far in. I did copious amounts of a cannabis tincture yesterday. In fact, actually approximately 20 hours ago. In fact, I might have a timer open on my phone. Hold on. Because I started a timer when that happened. Approximately 17 hours ago, and I'm still really fucking high, so please bear with me. I'm at like a good 6 out of 10 right now. I'm fucked up. So, we're going to be doing a program, a show. I got some news items, some itemized news for the show today. Some items. I got some items. Speaking of items, I've got this. It's cleans the glasses. That's great. I've got this. It's a screw that fell out of my chair, but I haven't put it back yet, so that's cool. I got lots of items. I've got this pillow. Is that a pillow? This is an item, technically. I got this microphone that I use for my show. That's an item. But so we got lots of items here, both news and otherwise. So that's the show. I'm on my second cup of coffee, and I am holding on for dear life. I am barely holding on, like, you know, when you're hanging on the cliff, right? And you got your two hands up, right? Like, just, and then, like, whoa, your one hand falls down, right? And then, like, you know, like a fucking eagle comes over and, like, fucking pecks your arm so you can't, like, you know, lift it back up. But then, like, your fingers start popping off, you know, like, first you're holding on with your index finger and all your pinky and everything. And then, oh no, right? You're like one hand. So I'm hanging off the cliff with one finger. Right now I'm barely holding on, so please bear with me. And I'm gonna do that thing. I'm gonna wear the sunglasses, because you know people do that when they're high. Oh, this is what they do. They go like. David Feldman arrested in Washington. I saw that article you sent me, but he wasn't in the article. Arrested. David Feldman. Finally, they got him. His reign of terror has been going on, honestly, long enough. Long enough, honestly. That fucking nuisance, a menace to society. David Feldman, rightfully in jail. We got him? Alright, so he's been removed from society. Someone clip that and send it to him. Anyway, so we got a show going on today. It's the show day. Okay, whoa, my chair has wheels. Holy shit. Okay, whoa. All right, I just started fucking wheeling around. All right, so got a show going on today. A programmed program with programmed programming. Programme, you know how they spell it in the other country that speaks English? Programme, programmy, I don't know. Anyway. Let's talk about murder. We love murder on this show. Love murder, talking about Fox News here. New York City crime. 1 dead, 8 injured in Harlem shooting during Father's Day weekend. The summer of murder, folks. Every weekend we got mass shootings all across the country. And so we're on this show, on the Above It All program, we've been playing a little bit of a game. So I haven't read this story yet. I don't know. But let's all ask ourselves. I'm going to post a poll in the live chat right now. Did the cops get him? What do y'all think? So while we read this story, I want us all to predict the ending of this story. Because as we've seen in this country, almost every mass shooting that's happened in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, has had no suspects and no arrests. So now we're constantly told that, oh, we can't defund the police. Who are you going to call when the shooting and then... that's what we're constantly told, oh, just one more cop. If we just fund our police departments, hire one more cop, everything will be fine. Just one more cop. Just one more, and then no more mass. So, I'm just curious, right? Because the people that are against defunding the police, they often say, who are you going to call in a mass shooting? You know, who's going to stop the violent crime? Cops don't even stop violent crime. That's not in their job description. Cops are there to show up after the crime is over and then harass the victims of that crime. That's what cops' purpose are in this society. So, of course, we need to defund the police. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Well, actually, it's not, but let's read this. The shooting happened along a footpath under the Madison Avenue Bridge. A shooting in Harlem over Father's Day weekend has left at least one person dead and 8 others injured, police said. The New York Police Department said the victims included 7 adult males and 2 women. 5 of the victims were transported via emergency services to Harlem Hospital, while the other 4 victims were driven in private vehicles, police said. The victim, who died, was a 21-year-old man. Police said he has not yet been identified. 9 people shot. The shooting happened on East 139th Street and 5th Avenue at around 12:40 a.m. on Monday, police said. The victims were shot along a footpath under the Madison Avenue Bridge. What do y'all think? Any arrests? The victims were believed to be at a barbecue or another social event, police said. So they're either at a barbecue or another social event. Like, that's not giving us... There's not that much information here. The victims were at a barbecue or literally anything else. Okay. All right. No additional details were provided. It is not immediately clear what led to the shooting. So, okay. If they would have arrested someone, maybe they would have said so. They would have said, oh, and the person arrested was blah, 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 or an arrest has been made. So they're purposefully just not acknowledging the fact that there's no arrest. So I'm going to say this on a no. I think the cops did not, in fact, get him. And so, once again, the summer of murder, folks, cops don't do anything. They show up afterward. Could have been in a barbecue. Could have been literally anywhere else. Who knows? We have no idea. And this, I mean, again, I don't know what a better way to show Americans how stupid fucking this country is. The cops don't do anything. Why are we spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on police when they don't do anything? They literally don't do anything. The only thing that they do is shoot and kill black people for entertainment. It's like, the fucking people that go into Africa to kill elephants and giraffes for entertainment. That's the only reason cops exist in this country, right? It's just a way that you can go ahead and murder black people for sport and then get away with it. 98.3% of cops don't even get charged when they murder someone, right? So that's the only reason and role of police in this country to exist. So, again, mass shootings in this country skyrocketing more and more and more. Cops solving the crimes less and less and less. I don't know. If I'm a mass shooter and I read all these stories, I might be thinking there's a 93% chance cops aren't even going to know who I am. That's crazy. Isn't that insane? Isn't that really crazy, though? Like, aspiring mass shooters out there are going to read all these headlines, read all these articles, and then come to the conclusion, I guess I can go do my mass shooting now. If I do it at a school, they won't stop me. If I do it under a bridge, they won't stop me. If I do it at a restaurant, they won't stop me. If I do it at a mall, they won't stop me. If I do it at work, they won't stop me. You can just kill anyone you want in this country, and cops won't do a goddamn thing about it. America, folks. America. Land of the free. Home of the brave. Am I right, people? Jesus. The only thing the cops are good at is arresting known terrorists like David Feldman. That's the only thing the cops have ever done right. That was the first time that police have actually done something beneficial to society and gotten violent thought criminals off the streets, out of my podcast networks, out of my applications that download podcasts. They're gone. So I want to say thank you to the Capitol Police for finally, at long last, they didn't stop anyone on January 6th. But I ask you this, why was David Feldman at the Capitol? January 6th too? I don't know, but he was up to something. So, again, massive shout outs to the police, the Capitol Police. They're really doing this country a favor for getting those violent criminals off the streets. All right. Anyway, I'm really trying to do a show here, folks. I'm barely hanging on, so please bear the fuck with me. There's what is that? This is a small screw. You see how small this screw is? I don't even know what this is for. Jesus Christ. I could choke on that. That's a choking hazard. Goddamn. Okay, just ride it out. I am a professional. All right. Let's go. Hillary Rodham goddamn, folks.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Hillary
I don't know.
Rodham goddamn, folks. She speaks. She spoke. She spoke. Once again, Hillary Clinton suggests transgender debate should not be a priority for Democrats. Clinton says Republicans are so extreme that other issues are out the window. So first of all, the official policy for the Democratic Party is to ignore transgender people. Like, let's acknowledge, right? Like, Joe Biden signed an executive order that's like, oh, we're going to do something maybe at some point. Great. Kamala Harris got a task force together to, like, read hate comments online. I'm still waiting for Kamala Harris's task force to get back to me. I'm still waiting. I sent them an email saying, hey, I got called a tranny 17 times today in my YouTube comments. Can you do something about it? Haven't gotten an email back. But they're going against online hateful comments. That's what the task force is about. And Hillary Clinton is basically, she is saying what the official Democratic policy is that we don't give a fuck about trans people. But you know what else the Democratic Party doesn't give a fuck about? Democracy. Again, let's roll back the clock here. January 6, 2021. There was an insurrection against the United States of America. The 14th Amendment, particularly Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, clearly states if you are aiding or giving comfort to those engaging in an insurrection, you are banned from ever holding office. You are banned from running for office. You are banned from holding office, right? So, and what did nearly 80 to 90% of the Republican Party do when they objected to the election results? When they gave tours to these people the day before on January 5th, Donald Trump, of course, it was all his architecture. He made up all the big lies that got them to do it, right? So, again, if Hillary Clinton wants to talk about saving democracy, is she going to talk about the 14th Amendment, Section 3? She hasn't, because she doesn't actually care. It's all theatrics. It's just for her next book. She's just going on an ever-growing book tour. So again, she doesn't give a fuck about democracy, and she certainly doesn't give a fuck about human rights. She certainly doesn't give a fuck about equality. She's garbage. But anyway, let's read. This is from Fox News. I want to read the Fox News version of this. I love reading Fox News articles on my show because, you know, it's important to understand how right-wingers will spin everything. And I think that better equips us to be able to really understand how crazy right-wingers are. They're insane. Former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton said Democrats should be focused on winning elections and suggested they should not treat the transgender debate as a priority. So again, one side of the aisle saying trans people need to be eliminated from society. If trans people go to the doctor, that doctor should be charged with felony crimes, right? In Ohio, Republicans are trying to advance a bill that mandates genital checks against all children because there's 2 transgender people in the entire state that are playing high school sports. And so as a result, they just want to check every kid's genitals in the whole state. That's what they want in Ohio. And there's also been bills advanced in other states and floated in other states to do the same thing. Again, right, like that, okay, they're crazy. Democrats, on the other hand, they got a task force. They got a task force, don't you understand? They're looking into online hateful comments. They got a task force, Kamala Harris. She has a task force. So to be honest with you, in this sense, I would agree with Hillary Rodham goddamn. If Democrats aren't going to do anything about transgender rights, I'd rather them just shut the fuck up about it. That's my opinion. Because when Biden does this big executive order and Kamala Harris announces her task force and the executive order doesn't really do anything and the task force is meaningless, all they're doing is giving right-wingers more fuel to say, oh, the Democrats are trying to groom your kids with trannies or whatever, right? So I'd rather them just shut the fuck up about it, personally. unless they're going to do something at all, they should just shut the fuck up. But again, let's see what Hillary Clinton has to say. Clinton made the comments in an extensive interview with the Financial Times, published Friday. The reporter pressed Clinton to state her position on some issues Democrats have pushed for on the national level that are unpopular among most Americans. I just want to say there's almost no policy that Democrats have pushed for that are unpopular with most Americans. Like, think about it. Like, really think to yourself. Like, the only thing I can think of that's unpopular with most Americans is tax cuts for the rich. But the Republicans do that as well. So, like, I want you to think, what policies do Democratic politicians, even corporate Democrats, what do they advocate for that Republicans don't also advocate for that most Americans would disagree with? Some Democratic politicians advocate for legalizing marijuana. Joe Biden said he would decriminalize it when he was elected president. Hasn't done it yet. But most Americans agree with that. Democrats, besides Joe Manchin and the other corporate ghouls, right? They want to advance a child tax credit, which most Americans support. They want to reformat and overhaul our infrastructure. Again, besides the Joe Manchins and the Kirsten Sinemas and the other corporate Democrats, right? But they want to fix our infrastructure. Most people want clean water and a road to drive on that doesn't destroy their cars, right? So I want you to really think about it. Now, does the Democratic Party overall suck big time? Absolutely. But notice that Fox News cannot come up with any policy. They cannot come up with a policy that Democrats support that's unpopular. They just vaguely refer to things that it fills in the gaps in your brain. Because if you're reading Fox News, you're like, I hate the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, God dang it. Right? And so you're just it's like Mad Libs. You fill in the blank. So I just want, to let people know about these rhetorical tactics. Quote, Democrats seem to be going out of the way to lose elections by elevating activist causes, notably the transgender debate, which are relevant only to a small minority. What sense does it make to depict J.K. Rowling as a fascist, the reporter asked. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, J.K. Rowling is a fascist. That's factual. And anyone that wants to throw transgender people under the bus is a Nazi. It's the same ideology. It's, I want healthcare for me and my people. I want safe spaces for me and my people, but not those people. What did they do in Nazi Germany? Right? Nazi Germany, they went to clean the streets of Germany. All the great German citizens, we need to clean ourselves. If we get rid of the Jewish people, then we'll have cleaner, safer streets. People will get sick less. Right? We'll have more money for the Germans when the Jewish people stop stealing our money. We need, again, it's everything for me and my people, but fuck that minority group. That's just Nazi ideology. Now, again, one of the first things the Nazi Party did when they took power in Germany was book burnings. A lot of people love to claim that they know about book burnings. The actual first major book burning in Nazi Germany was of a transgender medical institution and all of their research on transgender healthcare and gay people. They destroyed all the research. Interesting. So again, if you're going to go out there and say, oh yeah, I want rights for me and my people, but that minority group, that makes you a Nazi. I have nothing else to tell you. That's it. You're a Nazi. In the same way that when the government of Israel wants to create a fake state and genocides millions of Palestinians over the course of 70 years, guess what? The government of Israel is fueled by Nazis. It's a Nazi state. It's an ethno-state. That's what it is. Simple. In the same way that Saudi Arabia, it's the same ideology of fascism. It's, I want everything for me and my people, but fuck that minority group, kill them, take their shit. So again, I need people to understand that. So when people call J.K. Rowling a fascist, it is literally in the dictionary definition of what fascism is. It's, I want all the things for my people and fuck that other group. That's what it is. It's just plain and simple. Quote, this is Clinton's response, "We are standing on the precipice of losing our democracy, and everything that everyone else cares about then goes out the window." Again, if Clinton is going to talk about 14th Amendment Section 3 and banning Republicans from office for engaging in aid and comfort to those engaging in an insurrection, all right. Now, if she wants to say, oh, trans people are the low on the totem pole of priority, she said that about gay people, too. She said that about black people, too. So, I don't know, maybe I don't trust Hillary Clinton's radar when it comes to human rights. And again, she loves to pretend like democracy is her big, like, bailiwick. Oh, I'm the defender of democracy. Blue, blue, blue. And yet she doesn't bring up 14th Amendment Section 3. I'm just saying. Look, the most important thing is to win the next election. The alternative is so frightening that whatever does not help you win should not be a priority. Now, again, okay, if Democrats were to say ignore the trans debate, whatever that means, they ignore it mostly as it is. They, like 99% of Democrats literally are ignoring transgender people entirely, right? But, so that's already happening. But the alternative, if you want to win election, right, what you need to do is run on popular things. Like tax cuts for the poor, legalizing drugs, like marijuana, which, again, Joe Biden campaigned on, child tax credits, more stimulus packages, reducing inflation, taxing the rich, fixing our roads, fixing our pipes, fixing our food supply. They can do all of that. Nationalize oil and gas to reduce gas prices. If Democrats actually wanted to run on popular issues and just ignore the trans debate, honestly, I'm okay with that. Let's be honest. As a trans person, whatever. But the problem here is they're not running on popular things, and then they're just blaming transgender people existing for why they're losing election. Oh, someone said defund the police 2.5 years ago, so that's why we lost the election. Oh, there's one trans person in the entire state of Utah that is playing in high school sports, so that's why we lost election? Like, they're not running on it. If like all the Democrats were unanimous to run on actual things that actually would help people, and they just stayed out of transgender issues, I would prefer that to them staying out of transgender issues and then virtue signaling like Kamala Harris's task force, right? And then also running on unpopular issues everywhere else and not mentioning anything about popular issues, right? So again, or if they're not going to run on anything that is popular, like, you know, fixing our country, then at least actually run on human rights. That's the thing. Pick one. Or, like, preferably both. But at least pick one. Run on human rights or run on fixing our country. Preferably both. But they're choosing neither. They don't give a shit about human rights, and they don't give a shit about fixing our country. That's the problem with the Democratic Party. And Hillary Clinton, if she would have come out here and said something like, oh, Joe Manchin is a piece of fucking garbage, and the fact that Joe Manchin is stalling. Now again, Joe Biden is too much of a cuck coward, a beta male, to do this, even though he's president of the United States. So have Hillary Clinton go out there. A lot of people still listen to her. If Hillary Clinton would go out there and say, you know what? Joe Manchin is a Republican. He's a fucking moron, and he is standing in the way of progress, and so we need to elect more Democrats. And you know what? He should just fucking get out of the Democratic Party. We should kick him out of the Democratic Party. If she were to go out there and say that, Joe Manchin is the reason why Democrats can't get anything done, we got to elect more Democrats to stop fascism. Okay. But again, she's not doing that. She doesn't give a shit about this stuff.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go.
In this photo,
but I
she's
try to
wearing the
figure
same,
out how we get them to have
she's wearing the
Pokemon
same
go to
sweater
the polls.
and Pokemon
how
go
we
to the
get them
polls.
to have Pokemon go to the
It's
polls.
the same sweater? I can't. It's the same one. Anyway, Clinton's press office did not immediately respond, blah, blah, blah. Clinton has made a habit of criticizing the most radical members of the Democratic Party. Now, again, what does radical mean? It's radical to stand up for human rights. That's radical. I mean, Jesus Christ, like, that's radical. Radical would be, I don't know, throwing every billionaire in the country in jail and seizing all of their resources. That's radical. Saying, I don't know, gay people shouldn't be murdered. That's not that radical. It's not. I'm sorry. It's just not. She warned in December that progressive Democrats could lose elections for the party in 2022. So again, if she actually gave a fuck about stopping Republicans, if she actually gave a flying fuck, she would do the opposite of what she's doing. She would go after Joe Manchin. She would go after Kyrsten Sinema. She would go after Jim Clyburn, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. But instead she's going after AOC? What? It's dumb fuck bullshit is what it is. It's dumb fuck bullshit. I think that this is, I guess, another quote. I think that it is a time for some careful thinking about what wins elections, and not just in deep blue districts where a Democrat and a liberal Democrat or so-called progressive Democrat, I love how she's saying so-called, is going to win. Clinton said at the time, I understand why people want to argue for their priorities. That's what they believe they were elected to do. What? Look, I'm all about having vigorous debate. I think it's good and gives people a chance to be part of the process. But at the end of the day, it means nothing if we don't have a Congress that will get things done. Now, who's the one stalling progress? Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is stalling progress, but she's going to claim it's AOC? Like, she's going to claim it's like fucking Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib? They're stalling progress, even though Joe Manchin literally is blocking everything in the Senate. These bitches they're on drugs. Hillary Clinton is a serial drug addict. That's the only way you could fucking post this kind of shit. You are not in line with reality. If we don't have a Congress that blah, 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 and we don't have a White House that can count on the sane and sober state and be productive, Joe Manchin. Like, why are they afraid to say this word? Is this motherfucker like Voldemort or some shit? Like, goddamn. It's Joe fucking Manchin. It's Joe Manchin. That's the fucking problem. That's the cancer. We need to cut the cancer out of the Democratic Party. These motherfuckers are just in denial. They're afraid to even talk about the cancer that's there. It's insane. Polls show Americans overwhelmingly oppose transgender males competing in women's sports. I also oppose transgender males competing in women's sports because transgender men are men. So what is this wording? But again, Americans are fucking stupid either way. But that has no bearing. Most people, if you talk to most people that are in this poll that say they don't like the sport thing, they'll say, I don't care about trans issues one way or another. But the big thing that they care about is sports because they're fucking stupid and they're propagandized. But most people know, yeah, who cares if someone is trans? That's most people, right? But they are brainwashed into thinking like, oh, the trannies are destroying sports. Trans people getting like 17th place is destroying the world. But I also agree, transgender men should not be in women's sports. I think that everyone should say that. That is very obvious because transgender men are men, of course. But anyway, this fucking shit is insane. The Democrats are fucking, like, they're inept garbage. They're garbage. They're garbage. They're garbage. And again, they claim to, we care about fascism. We care about the end of democracy, blah, blah, blah. Then do something. Then do something. Do fucking something. Do one thing. Do one thing. One thing at all. But they can't. Democrats are only as powerful as their weakest link. And right now, that's Joe Manchin. And Hillary Clinton, not even elected anywhere, is afraid to call that out? Isn't that crazy? These motherfuckers are insane. They're on drugs. They're not in the real world. And I know this because I'm on drugs all the time. I love getting out of the real world. I love going into the realer world. But these motherfuckers, man, they're on drugs. And what is that drug? Money? Money. That's the drug of choice. They have so much money, they don't care about consequences. They don't care about what's right and what's wrong. They don't care about strategy. They don't care about winning. They're hooked on dollars. These rich, out of touch, elite snobs are hooked on cash. And they don't give a fuck about the poor. They don't give a fuck about how to fight for the poor. And again, they'll claim to care at all about elections, but they don't. They don't at all. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be a human on Earth with other motherfuckers like this. Like, when aliens visit this fucking planet and they see Hillary Clinton's of the world, I'm embarrassed. Jesus. Hello, Jefferson. Lula 2022. I've heard that Lula is, like, fucking polling in, like 20 points ahead of Bolsonaro. I'm interested to see how the Bolsonaro government is going to react to that. Because, my opinion, they're not going to concede. Bolsonaro is very Trump-like. I just want to remind everyone, tell a story. Bolsonaro visited the White House and the CIA in Washington, D.C. when I lived there. And when his motorcade was pulling up, I gave him the double middle finger, and he looked at me through the window. So I just want to say, solidarity with those that are opposing Bolsonaro. I gave him the double middle finger, and he saw it. So that's my contribution to the discourse. But I think he will do some, like, military takeover. I think he'll try to deny the election results, even though, again, like, if he loses by 20 points, I mean, Jesus Christ. He'll probably try to throw Lula in jail again for some trumped-up charge. But, you know, if Lula wins in Brazil, that's a huge one. That's big. Brazil is a very important country. So, it's the largest country in South America, of course, right? So, if we get a fucking leftist in there, I know there's a Colombia is I think, I'm not sure if the votes are still counted and this is likely to happen, but I know Colombia, recently got a left-wing government. I know Bolivia, of course, is going more to the left after their fucking stupid coup. But again, you get rid of Bolsonaro, and that's a sphere of influence change. Like, yeah, Glenn Greenwald, like, the only good thing he's ever done in his life was, like, expose the Bolsonaro corruption. And now he's like, everything he does is in favor of Bolsonaro. It's insane. Glenn Greenwald is fucking garbage, man. Holy shit. But anyway, one of my proudest moments in politics is giving Bolsonaro the double middle finger and him seeing it. So, I'm proud of that story. It's a good story. Andrew Kohler, there was this fucking stupid bitch bullshit where apparently transgender people are better at skateboarding. This was a big outrage. Skateboarding. There was like a skateboarding competition and a trans person got first place. And then the second place person cried and whined and said, "Oh, they stole my money." And then everyone else in that skating competition made fun of the second place person for being a sore loser. Like, I think it was like a 16th place bullshit. And like literally everyone was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? This is skateboarding, you stupid fucking moron." It's really funny. But yeah, they like transgender people are like better at everything apparently. Doesn't that sound a lot like what Nazis said about Jewish people in the 1930s? The Jewish people are better with money. They can control your mind. because they're so smart. Sounds very similar. I did not, Maya. All right, so let's, meanwhile, elsewhere in the world, Canaan parents cited transgender people in threat against school, court documents show. Shane Gobiel allegedly threatened Canaan schools on Monday, photo via Canaan schools Facebook. Shane Gobiel threatened to show up and kill somebody at the Canaan schools if his child, a student in the district, was approached by a transgender person or drag queen at school. So if there's any, like, what does approached by, like, mean? Like a trans kid is like sitting next to them at lunch and say, hey, can I sit here? Oh, they're going to go in and kill someone. Now, I have a question. Have you ever heard of a transgender person threatening a school? If a cisgender person sits next to me at lunch class, I'm going to go in there and kill someone? Have you ever heard that? No, you haven't. But yet, there's been literally thousands of these stories of right-wingers threatening to kill people over trans people existing. Jesus Christ. Gobiel made the threat Monday at a New Hampshire store in the presence of two Canaan school students, ages 16 and 17, and later repeated it to Vermont State Police officers. Don't take what I said as a threat. Take it as a promise, Gobiel later told a responding Vermont State Police trooper, according to court documents. The Canaan schools, which include two separate buildings, an elementary school and a high school that share a campus, serve about 180 students. Both schools were closed Tuesday and Wednesday in response to the alleged threat. This is, again, there was an entire town in Wisconsin, a small town in Wisconsin. They ended the school year early because of bomb threats, because a transgender person was bullied, and they were investigating the bullying. So they literally had to close school like 2 weeks before they let out because people would call in bomb threats over the trannies. And not only that, but they threatened to bomb the Memorial Day parade. So the whole town had to cancel all their parades. Now, again, flip the script. Have you ever heard of a transgender person saying, oh, there's a cis person in my classroom, so I want to bomb the school now? Oh, I was bullying a cis person for being cisgender, and now they're investigating me. I'm going to blow up the school. Have you ever heard that? No. But you've heard cis people talk about, oh, trans people exist, blow up the school. Oh, trans people exist, I'm going to go there and shoot someone. It's insane. These people are crazy. They're crazy. I don't know what to tell you. They're Nazis. It's that simple. They are just Nazis. It's that fucking simple. Charged with harassment on Tuesday. Gobiel was released on conditions Wednesday following his arraignment in a New Hampshire court in Vermont, Essex County state. I guess they're on the border of these states. And that's causing like some, jurisdictional mess. Vince Aluzzi sought and was granted an extreme risk protection order, which prohibits Gobiel from purchasing or possessing dangerous weapons for at least 6 months. 6 months, that's it. So, on the 7th month, they're going to go buy a gun and then kill someone. And then we're going to read in a story, oh, they made threats 6 months ago. Then they got off their probation on guns. And then they killed. This is all the stories we always see. Of oh, this person, like the Uvalde shooter. Oh, this person threatened to kill people several times. Threatened to do a school shooting several times. It was well documented in the school. Everyone knew about it. And then he bought the gun and then did a school shooting. So it's like the Oxford school shooter, right? He was doing the same thing. Yeah, I want to shoot everyone. I want to go here and kill people. No one did anything. And what did he do? Stole his parents' guns and went to go kill people! Right? That's what they do. So, okay, 6 months. That's great. That's great. Though police searched Gobiel's residence and found no weapons, he told officers he intended to exercise his right to own firearms and stated that he wished to purchase an AK-47 assault rifle at some point, according to court documents. The documents state that Gobiel was previously convicted on a felony charge for second-degree assault in March 2015. Gobiel was also cited for trespassing on Kanan's school property within the last week after he allegedly harassed students, parents, and staff regarding mask recommendations. So not only the same guy that wants to murder transgender people also doesn't like masks? It's almost like these people have no original thoughts. And they just do whatever Fox News tells them. They just do whatever Tucker Carlson tells them. Whatever is the outrage of the week for the Republican media. Oh, one day it's masks. The next day it's gas prices. Now it's transgender people. And they march in lockstep like the good little zombies that they are. They have no unique thoughts. They have no critical thinking skills. They have no actual personality. Their entire personality is consumed by hatred of the other and whatever the big daddy on television tells them to do. The threats allegedly occurred Monday at Solomon's store, a grocery store located in Stewartstown, New Hampshire. According to court documents that cite visual and audio footage of the interaction, Gobiel was speaking with 2 students in the store about the school's dress code. Why is this guy, like, walking up to random kids, by the way? Like, he's, like, walking up to random kids. Like, hey. Like, you know, like the fucking creepy guy that, like, hangs outside the high school, like, trying to date high school girls. Like, you know, like, hey. Yes, isn't it weird? There's a lot of stuff going on in school. You wanna come back to my place and talk about how much we hate transgender people? And then the kids are like, right? Like, what the fuck is this guy doing? What are they do? Why are you, like, walking up to random school children and going like, hey, I'm gonna murder someone at your school if there's a drag queen? Like, what the fuck? These motherfuckers are insane. They're crazy, man. What the fuck? The school's changing, Gobiel said, according to a Vermont State Police affidavit. Before you know it, there's going to be a drag queen show, and you know what? I'm probably going to show up and kill somebody. A lot of bodies. Like, what the? So, all right, let's get this straight. Teaching kids that gay people and transgender people exist, that's grooming? But walking up to random children and saying you're going to commit a school shooting? That's just fine? That's just fine. That's A-okay. A-okay. A gay person being alive? Oh, they're a groomer. A transgender person literally just breathing oxygen on planet Earth? Groomer. Someone walking up to random children and saying they're going to murder people at their school? Oh, that's not a groomer. No. That's great. He's a totally normal member of society. And then you got people that defend this shit. They go like, yeah. Transgender people's drinking waters and eating food in front of me. I can't believe it. I'm gonna go kill people. Like, it's the same shit that they did with segregation. It's the same fucking shit that they did with segregation. When there was desegregating and schools started to have black kids and white kids in the same class, you had white parents say, if there's a black kid in my class, in my son's classroom, my daughter's classroom, whatever, I'm going to go and kill people. And they did. There was a lot of mass lynchings of black people, parents and students, because of desegregation. So when a right-winger tells you they're going to kill someone, historically speaking, they probably will. And again, you got people going out there and going like, yes, the right-wingers should say that they're going to kill people, and they should do it. Because black people existing, they're evil, they're slime. And the Jewish people existing, evil. We got to clean up the streets from the plague of Jews. Transgender people breathing oxygen. Oh, the groomers. Woo! Muslims just existing. Oh, they're going to blow up our school. They're going to blow up our town. Oh! These motherfuckers are ridiculous. They're fucking ridiculous. So when these motherfuckers threaten to kill people, you should probably take them seriously. You understand, he said. If you guys ever do that to Kanan, you guys. Like, he's talking to random kids. Like, he's not talking to, like, the principal or someone on the school board. Like, he's talking to a random 16-year-old at a grocery store. If you ever get a drag queen at school, I'm gonna go kill everyone. You think that 16-year-old's in charge of, like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, like, what the fuck? Like, that's just weird. That's weird shit. That's creepy fucking shit. When Vermont State Police made contact with Gobiel, he allegedly reiterated, if there's ever going to be a transgender, again, these people are just not literate. Transgender is an adjective. A transgender is not English. That's like saying, oh, I'm going to eat a spicy. A spicy what? No, I'm just eating a spicy. What? I want to sit on a red. A red chair? A red... No, just a red. Like, again, they don't know English. A transgender drag queens and bring it right here in my daughter's face. I'm going to have a big problem with that. If anybody comes near my daughter with a fucking dick and fucking pantyhose, I'll kill him. He says this to cops. Like, the police come to his house, and he says he's going to kill transgender people for existing. To the cops. They're proud of it. They have no shame in advocating for their neo-Nazi ideology. Vermont State Police troopers said in their report that they advised Gobiel multiple times that his statements were concerning to the students, teachers, and parents of children who attend the school. Gobiel advised that he did not care and he would say whatever he wants as it was his right to do so. Following the threat, Canaan schools shut down their high school and elementary school. According to New Hampshire State Police arrest warrant, the school had previously served Gobiel 2 separate notice against trespass forms. Why is this guy, before him threatening to kill people over trans people just existing, he's like walking into the school grounds like, bro, you're like in your 30s or 40s. What the fuck are you doing at the school? Why are you like breaking into the school of like children and like harassing them? Like, that's weird. But again, trans people existing, they're groomers. People trespassing on school grounds several times, they're not groomers. They're fine. They're upstanding members of society. I see nothing wrong. Oh yeah, they're just breaking into the school to spy on kids and then like walk up to them at grocery stores. That's not a groomer. But a trans person just walking down the street, that groomer. Like, these people, again, they don't care about facts. They don't care about logic. The only thing they care about is carrying out their neo-Nazi ideology. That's it. They're Nazis. It's that simple. You don't have to like do a bunch of fucking like, you know, jump rope tricks to tie yourself into a knot to call someone a fascist. What is the core fundamental ideology of fascism? More for me and my people and literally exterminate the rest of the people? That's fascism. It's that simple. It's what the Nazis did. It's what the slavers did. It's what the kings did. And it's what people are still doing. Because that ideology has always existed. And probably until we do something severe with how we orchestrate society, it always will exist. Because the people that aren't Nazis, they don't give a shit about opposing Nazis. So you have Nazis that want to kill everyone that's a minority. And then everyone else that's not a minority that doesn't agree with that, they just don't give a shit. And then the minority group is like, can we have something done about this? Can we like get some protections? And then the group is like, why are you whining? Oh, you think they really want to kill you? Pfft, don't take them so seriously. And then, of course, more murder, more hate crimes, more assassinations. And then the group in the middle is like, oh, pfft, what are you, crazy? They don't give a shit. These people are insane. Gobiel allegedly confronted a mother and 2 students for wearing masks on 2 separate occasions. So he's going to the school and walking up to children. You gotta take that mask off! Goddamn coronavirus! Goddamn the pandemic! Oh, the scam! Like, bro, why are you walking up to kids at school? What are you doing? This guy is like, if anyone's on the list of who's a groomer, it's the guy that has, on several occasions, trespassed on school grounds and walks up to children. That's a groomer. That's a freak show. You gotta get this motherfucker like 50 miles away from any school. It's insane. Charged with harassment. Yeah, threatening to kill people. That's just harassment. Okay. Our world. Holy fucking shit, man. And nothing will be done. The Nazis will probably win. Because the people in the middle don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. At all. Imagine Mountains. It's interesting that you love the shitpost about communists, so-called communists, when one of the premier tactics that the so-called Communist Party did in Russia and the Soviet Union was called whataboutism. So, while you're shitting on Soviet communists and their tactics and their racism and their war crimes, you are using their same exact tactics. So, that's a little interesting. I find that interesting. The communists did the same thing I'm doing, and the communists are bad when they do it, but when I do it, it's good. Reminder, what did the Nazis call themselves? National Socialists. Socialism for me and my people, but only my people, and kill the rest. So, again, someone calling themselves a socialist, if they're a Nazi, that doesn't mean that they're a socialist. Someone calling themselves a communist and then starving millions of people because they don't follow the dear leader. Wait a second, hold the phone. They're not a communist. They're just using the name and symbolism of communism for their own authoritarian goals. Right? And again, one of the premier tactics of Soviet and Russian disinformation tactics is whataboutism. And that's exactly what Imagine Mountains does. Because he is an authoritarian bootlicker. It's that simple. Yeah, Joe Biden's a racist. No shit, jackass. Like, okay, so Joe Biden's a racist. And that means that threatening to kill kids at a school because of trans people is okay? Like, what? Like, so okay. So threatening to kill trans people, not that big of a deal because Joe Biden's a racist? Again, like, with all sincerity.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
All communists, not just Soviet. Once again, the Nazis are called National Socialists. So if we're going to take them at their word that they're socialists, then I guess fascists never killed anybody. Because they were all socialists, right? The Nazis were socialists, so I guess Nazis and fascists didn't kill anyone, it was the socialists. You motherfuckers, man. Like, I sincerely, like, I hope to God that, like, you don't have kids, and that if you do, that they're able to read a history book. Like, because, like, Jesus Christ, these motherfuckers' understanding of history is like, it's negative. It's worse than no understanding. Because they learn, like, fake history. Like, if they just knew nothing about history, that's better than being so, like, brainwashed and disinformed. Like, someone calling themselves a socialist doesn't mean that they're a socialist. Just like how someone calling themselves a Republican doesn't mean that they believe in a Republican form of government. Someone calling themselves a Democrat doesn't necessarily mean that they believe in democracy. So, I mean, again, like, if you don't understand why someone would use a popular label, such as socialism or communism, and take advantage of the popularity of that label because they're an authoritarian ghoul, like, again, that's like being surprised when, like, a narcissist psychopath, you know, like, kills someone, and then they're like, oh, I was killing them in self-defense. What? I mean, we have you on tape saying that you were going to kill them, and we have them on tape saying that you were stalking them, and now you're saying you killed them in self-defense? What? Yeah, they lie. Like, the idea that humans can't lie, like, oh shit, this person called themselves a communist, and yet they killed people and starved people, that's not communist ideology. No fucking shit, they lied to you, motherfucker. Like, I don't know how hard this is to understand. People lie, especially in leadership positions. You think Hillary Clinton gives a fuck about democracy? She's lying. You think Joe Biden gives a fuck about equality? He's lying. You think Joseph Stalin gave a fuck about equality? They're lying. They're lying. That's what they are. They're fucking lying to usurp power. Like, I don't know why these people are so... The communists killed people. They're called liars. I don't understand why that's so... Like, communism is an ideology, right? I consider myself a communist. I wouldn't kill anyone because that's not what is involved in communism. I wouldn't target minorities because that's not what a communist would do. I wouldn't starve minorities because that's not what a communist would do. If a communist is saying this while they're killing people for being minorities, they're not a communist. It's like, oh, I'm not patting my head, bro. I'm not patting my head. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not patting my head. I'm not rubbing my tummy. I have no idea what you're talking about. No. I'm anti-tummy rubbing. I'm not rubbing my tummy. No. I don't know why you think that. Like, dude, it's called lying. They're lying. I don't know. Whoa, politicians lie? And, like, Imagine Mountains is just learning this for the first time. Oh, shit. Politicians lie. Again, socialism as an ideology is inherently anti-authoritarian. In order to be a communist, what is the definition of communism? Let me look this up for you. Okay? Communism is a classless, do you know what classes are? Classless, stateless, moneyless society. That is communism. To achieve a communist society, there are no classes, there is no state, and there is no money. That's communism. So wait, if someone claims to be a communist and they are in favor of classes, like wealthy elites, and a governmental apparatus that is designed around oppressing people beneath them, that's not communism. It's not. It's not. So when someone who claims that they are a communist is doing things that are against communism, it's called they're lying. They're lying. They're not a communist. So if someone actually says they're a communist, don't take them at their word. In the same way that if someone says that, oh, no, I'm a Democrat, I believe in democracy, and yet they don't want to abolish the Senate, for example, actions speak louder than words. Again, I'm not rubbing my tummy. You can clearly see me rubbing my tummy. My words say I'm not rubbing my tummy. My actions say otherwise. Actions speak louder than words. So if someone claims to be a communist and doesn't act like a communist, how does that make communism a bad ideology? It doesn't. You're just an idiot. Politicians lie. People lie to get into leadership positions. It's that simple. People will use any lie that they can to gain power, because people that want power are narcissistic psychopaths. They don't place any value in being truthful. They don't place value in being honest. They place value in climbing the ladder of society. So if someone claims to be a communist and they're sitting in a big mansion, eating the best food in the world, drinking the best vodka or wine in the world, and shitting on poor people and starving out certain minority groups, that's not a communist. You stupid motherfucker. But again, these people are fucking stupid. Like people genuinely think, oh, someone called themselves a communist. That must be what communism is. So if I call myself a fascist and then say I want transgender people to live happy and healthy lives, does that mean that fascism as an ideology wants transgender people to live happy and healthy lives? No! You stupid motherfucker! But again, they're just fucking stupid. Like, they're just fucking stupid. It's really that simple. They're just stupid motherfuckers. Like, the concept of politicians and narcissists lying is just like, they can't, whoa. Someone said something in a position of power that wasn't the truth. Whoa! Whoa! Stupid motherfuckers, man. Stupid motherfuckers, man. And again, Imagine Mountains, feel free to call the police. I don't even know what police station you're calling. I would love to know that. But feel free to call the police and say that some random YouTuber made fun of you again. Oh, Daddy, YouTuber online made fun of me for being stupid. Like, bro, I don't know what cop station you're even calling. But literally, anyone that's going to cry and say that they call the police several times because of getting made fun of in a YouTube chat, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, if anyone is a woman, if anyone has features that are often associated with women, it's Imagine Mountains. That motherfucker's a pussy. Jesus fucking Christ. Holy goddamn shit. Someone made fun of me in an online chat room. I'm gonna call a random police station, by the way, that has no association with me. Like, what fucking cops did they call? Like, the stupid motherfucker? Like, my God. These people believe in the dumbest fucking shit imaginable. The dumbest fucking shit imaginable, dude. Like, threatening to shoot up a school because of trans kids, that's fine. Joe Biden's a racist. Someone called me dumb in an online chat room, I'm gonna call the cops. Like, oh. Oh.
So stupid. So stupid. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Last bit of news for today. Far-right groups shift focus to LGBTQ events. Their hateful aim hasn't changed. So, we've got some more information on the Idaho Pride event where 31 members of Patriot Front were charged with conspiracy to riot. Some members of Patriot Front were from Florida that went to Idaho. Now, does anyone know where Idaho is? They were from Virginia, Arkansas, Tennessee. Does anyone know where Idaho is on the map? And where the states I just mentioned are on the map? They literally traveled thousands of miles because they wanted to murder random gay people or trans people. That's insane. That's crazy. That's crazy. 2 incidents in which far-right extremists targeted LGBTQ events earlier this month marked what appeared to be a shift in focus for white supremacist activists. A group of men with ties to the white nationalist Patriot Front was arrested outside a Pride event in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, the same day alleged members of far-right Proud Boys crashed a children's drag queen storytelling event and shouted homophobic and transphobic slurs in Alameda, California. Sheriffs are now investigating it as a possible hate crime. They literally went there because of trans people, and they called people trannies. It's possibly a hate crime. If that's possibly a hate crime, I would love to know what the definition of a fucking hate crime is. That's like when the fucking Buffalo mass shooter in his manifesto said, yes, I went there to kill black people specifically. And the media's like, suspected racially motivated. If I'm going there to kill black people because I hate black people is theoretically suspected to be racially motivated, then what the fuck does racially motivated mean? That doesn't mean anything. If, I want to go there because they're trans and call them trannies is suspected hate crime, it's possible. Some dumb shit. Earlier iterations of Patriot Front and Proud Boys were among the neo-Nazi factions who sought to intimidate the Charlottesville, Virginia community after the Unite to Right the rally in 2017. So, of course, again, Patriot Front specifically is the group of people that when reacting to Charlottesville, when reacting to someone getting murdered at Charlottesville, there was a factional split in the right. Some people wanted to condemn it for optics' sake. Oh, that's bad. I'm sorry about that. But that doesn't change the fact that, blah, 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 we're right-wing conservatives. The people that are now Patriot Front were the motherfuckers that were like, yes, in fact, we wish more people died. That's that group. That's that splinter. So I need you to understand this. So why would members of a white supremacist group, many of whom in the case of the Idaho event have traveled from other states, choose to target a local pride event? Extremist researchers say the far-right activists are seizing on an opportunity of heightened attention around cultures they have always seen as a threat to their hateful interests. And the particular events that extremists chose to target that Saturday had in recent weeks drawn negative attention among the far-right online networks to fuel their hate activism. Groups like Patriot Front and Proud Boys have relied on misogyny and homophobia as a core of their brands. Now, again, Proud Boys, one of the parts... Now, I don't know if they're still doing this, but they were founded, right, by a comedian, right, a far-right misogynist comedian, right, and one of the original core tenets of the Proud Boy ideology was that you're not allowed to masturbate because that's too gay. Bro, you're touching dick. That's gay. That was literally part of the... and again, another part of the Proud Boy ideology is that in order to rank up in the Proud Boy, you need to Proud Boys group, you need to commit a hate crime. That's how you would level up. It's a gang initiation. You go out there, beat the shit out of a random black person on the side of the street like they've done in New York several times. That's how you get higher rank in the Proud Boys. So it's not surprising to see them step out in front of the current moment. The far-right's latest targets fit the same old hateful agenda. What might appear as disparate targets by white supremacists and other far-right extremist groups. I don't know why anyone would think a far-right group wouldn't want to kill gay or trans people. Like, the idea that, that's shocking. Like, anyone that thinks that's shocking, fucking moron, right? But anyway, are all part of one aim, dismantling democracy in order to establish a white ethno-state. These groups are very, very willing to and eager to change their targeting. Kathleen Below, a history professor at Northwestern University, blah, 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 told NPR's blah, blah, blah in an interview, blah, blah, blah. But it is all for the same common purpose. That purpose, she said, stems from the shared racist rationale. They see gay rights, immigration, interracial contact, and especially the birth of interracial children, feminism and others, and several other social movements as all being a problem because they believe that these things will undermine their white birth rate. She said, they see those as an apocalyptic threats that are somewhat interchangeable in a larger project of protecting and preserving whiteness itself. That's correct. Timing also played a key role in the extremist plans in Idaho and California. All of this was taking place in the context of declining movement interest in COVID denial and anti-CRT racism to mobilize members. Now, again, remember when CRT was destroying the world? CRT. Whoa! Remember the caravans? There's caravans. They're coming in from Mexico. The caravans, the immigrants, the brown people, the caravans are going to destroy democracy. And then the day after the 2018 midterms, like the day before, there's like 50,000 stories on caravans. The day after, no one mentioned it, right? And then the 2019, or rather 2020 elections, 2021 elections, were like, oh, CRT, critical race theory, destroying America. The black people want to be involved in history. Oh no! And then as soon as the elections were over, CRT, what? You mean like the television? Right, and now, the next election, oh, it's the tranny groomers! is a new scapegoat every election cycle. They just change it up. Because, like, right after, like, in early 2021, they sowed the seeds for this groomer bullshit. Donald Trump's first speech after January 6th was at CPAC, where he dedicated half the speech to shitting on transgender people. Right? So this, like, they just build these targets, and they just rotate them out. After 9/11, oh, the Muslims, the proud people, they're going to destroy the world. Let's go bomb their countries, except for Saudi Arabia, which most of the terrorists came from, because Saudi Arabia, blah, blah, blah. Right? They just switch it up. All of this was taking place in the context of decline. Yeah, okay. The recent far-right disruptions have prompted LGBTQ event organizers and law enforcement to stay on high alert during Pride Month. The far-right incidents are not isolated events, according to a study released last week by the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project. As conservative politicians and media have ramped up anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, even the New York Times is running, like, I think 6 pieces over the last couple of weeks attacking transgender people. Like, transgender people, there's millions of them in the country. Oh, really? How many millions? Oh, it's actually 0.4% of the population. It's gone down. Trans people were estimated as 0.6% of the population a couple years ago. Now it's 0.4%. So the percentage is going down. But there's millions. Oh! And anti-trans legislation in recent months, anti-LGBTQ demonstrations have increased and grown more violent. Right-wing influencers online had targeted the Idaho Pride event for weeks. Now, again, you have groups that listen to everything people like libs of TikTok say, listen to, like, the Charlie Kirk show, listen to, like, fucking Steve Bannon's show, listen to, like, what Donald Trump says, right? And they get targets. And then they go there en masse and try to kill people. The Pride in the Park event at Coir, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm fucking sorry. I don't, this whole French bullshit, I mean, Jesus Christ, was singled out by the far right as early as April 13. He said that's when a national leader of the white supremacist Groypers group, Vincent James Fox, a relatively new North Idaho resident, targeted the parade on Telegram. From there, quote, from there, thanks to the extensive networking Fox has done in the area, far-right circles, the counter-demonstration was taken up by several other groups from North Idaho anti-groomers, to the Panhandle Patriots, again, referring to Florida, said Burghardt, the Irish president. It spread like wildfire through area far-right social networks. Maybe Panhandle Patriots is referring to the Panhandle of Idaho. I'm not sure. But I do know that there were people from Florida as well. Although white supremacists have long villainized a range of groups, including black people, Jewish people, LGBTQ people, white nationalist groups like Patriot Front, historically haven't made Pride events a focus, according to John Lewis, blah, blah, blah. Far-right targets have shifted based on what local events get picked up and gain traction in national right-wing network of mainstream media. So again, when Tucker Carlson does all this bullshit and says, oh, it's CRT, it's the caravans, oh, it's the groomers, woo! It's just whatever's most popular at the time. They don't think for themselves. They don't actually have internal monologues. They're zombies. They're drones. They're sheep. They follow in lockstep with their dear leader. And that changes. They don't actually think on their own. Earlier this month, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said it should be illegal to take children to drag shows. Words echoed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who suggested he's considering punishing families who take their children to drag shows. In Idaho itself, a pastor in Boise told his congregation last month that LGBTQ people are worthy of death. This month, authorities said pride flags in the city were vandalized for the second year in a row. Interesting. Interesting. So you can read the rest of this if you'd like. Well, we get the gist. What we need to do in this country is destroy the ideology of fascism once and for all. No more half measures. No more, oh, they'll come around. No more, oh, the fever will break. We need severe intervention in these people's lives. Because they're fucking crazy. Like, once again, in the chat room right now, in the live show, we have someone with a swastika avatar threatening to kill me right now. Like, you can just see it right now. Like, again, these motherfuckers are insane. They're insane. We need to get Kamala Harris's task force in this shit, bro. Like, they're crazy motherfuckers. They're crazy motherfuckers. This is what they do. This is what they do. This is their ideology. This is their world. This is their life. This is what gives them meaning in their life. Like, for me, what gives me meaning? Taking care of my dog. Doing funny videos online, making people laugh, educating people. That's what gives me meaning. These people, what gives them meaning is threatening random minorities online. They get up every day and they go like, oh, the trannies. That's what they do every day. Like, that's their life. Like, when they write in their diaries at the end of the day, "Dear diary, today I threatened to kill 17 trannies. Maybe tomorrow I'll hit up 18. That's, like, I need you to understand, these people are insane. They are crazy. They are crazy. They are fucked in the head, and not in the good dick way. Like, this is their life mission. Like, their life mission isn't to, listen to good music. They really like music, so they want to listen to, like, every song that is in the genre that they love. Their life mission isn't to watch all the horror movies in the world because they love horror movies. Their life mission isn't to, like, play every, like, JRPG because they're really cool and they love the art. Their mission is to exterminate minority groups because they're weird. They're fucking freaks. They've been brainwashed. They're zombies. They're cultists. They're religious fundamentalists. And their religion is mass murder of people that literally have done nothing to them. Like, it's as simple as a black person being alive. That's a threat to their identity, their core identity. A transgender person walking down the street is a threat to their core identity. It's insane. It's insane. It's fucking insane. Like, I don't even know. Like, there's no words that could accurately summarize just how fucking insane these motherfuckers are. Anyway, aren't death threats an actual crime? There's one of those, like, the thing about crimes that you need to understand is that all laws are suggestions. They're suggestions, right? So, like, jaywalking laws, if you're white and you jaywalk, you're good. If you're black and you jaywalk, oh, they'll fuck you up. All laws are suggestions. The only thing that matters is enforcement. So when someone sends me a death threat, and if that's reported to the police are going to go like, oh, it's a white nationalist threatening to kill a tranny. Fuck it. Right? But if I were to give anyone a death threat, I would go to jail because it's about enforcement. Laws are all just suggestions. It's crazy. I mean, these motherfuckers are insane. I mean, this is what happens when you have a country where 81% of people believe in God. 81% of people in this country are open to the idea in believing in fairy tales of people telling them what to do. Now, some people, their fairy tales lead them in the right direction, and they think, oh, God wants me to love everyone, and that's great. But some people, just that idea that as a society we are susceptible to magical thinking, being a neo-Nazi is a religion. It's just, instead of believing in like some Christian God, they believe in like Big Daddy Trump or some shit, and their mythology is Adolf Hitler, and he's like, a fallen messiah, right? Like, it's magical thinking. Like, being susceptible to magical thinking is what really is the ultimate root cause of all of this fucking shit. The fact that people can believe things where there's no evidence. There is no evidence of, like, Jewish people raining pestilence down on the clean German world. There's no evidence of it, but they believe it because they believe in the concept of magical thinking and faith. Taking things without evidence on faith. So when Adolf Hitler goes out there and says, the Jewish people bring disease, they're like, there's no evidence, but Hitler said it, so it must be true. So when people go out there and say the trannies are grooming children, well, there's no evidence, but Trump said it, Tucker said it, must be true. It's magical thinking. Like, this is why on my show, I want to preach the practice of mindfulness, right? Of asking yourself why you do the things that you do and following those dominoes all the way back to the start, right? So when you are eating food, ask yourself, why am I eating this food? When did I first eat this food? How did I get into this kind of food, right? When you are making yourself coffee, ask yourself, all this kind of stuff. But like, again, in that same vein, if you are online threatening to kill transgender people for simply existing, ask yourself why. Why do I hate transgender people? Well, the answer is because, someone, basically the answer boils down to someone told you to. Someone that's not you told you to, and that's it. That's it. You didn't come at this conclusion by yourself. And that's the thing. I don't think most people in this society are actually conscious beings, in the sense that when you do everything you do is because someone else told you to. That's a problem. And I don't care like what your politics are. I don't care if you're like the biggest like fucking, bleeding heart lefty in the world. Like, you should arrive at conclusions because you arrive at these conclusions, not because somebody told you to. Kill the God in your head, kill the cop in your head, because that's holding you down. That's holding you back from achieving, like, what the human brain is capable of achieving. When you let other people think for you, you are not a conscious being. You are a zombie. You are a zombie. But being a zombie is not a permanent state of mind. Being a drone can be cured. And the cure is education. But again, education can be corrupted. Right? Because again, fascists have their own mythology. They have their own education where they educate people on disinformation. Like the Buffalo shooter said he was reading about, the history of the white race online, and that's what led to him being a fascist, right? So, yes, the cure is education, but these people have also fucked with that too. And so, again, when you're educating yourself, when you are being educated, right, the goal should be to read facts from multiple sources and generate your own conclusions. If you are getting all of your info from one show, which is why, in my opinion, if this is the only show you watch on YouTube, that's a problem. You should be watching multiple different positions. That's why when I go on my show, I love to read Fox News articles. Why? Because I want to know what the right wing is thinking. Because that better gives me the ability to understand what's going on in the world. If I were to only read, like, Jacobin, for example, I would turn into one of those weird, like, Jacobin-obsessed people, like those ML weirdos, right? Again, you need to have a variety of sources as much as possible. That's one thing that, Like, if you are getting all of your information from one source, that's not good. Like, no matter how much you trust the source, if you trust me with giving you always honest information, that's great. I'm glad you do. But also, you should be watching some other news shows. You should be reading a couple books from different people that disagree with you. You know what I mean? Anyway, folks, I'm going to skedaddle. I'm hungry. I need to eat. So I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. Everyone have a wonderful day.
And then they have cans of soup. Soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect.
But the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Dumb. So dumb.
All of a sudden, we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Get your words straight, Jack.